Yo, how's it going, fam? We are back with another session, and I'm gonna be talking about NZD/USD so that we guys can see what was the breakdown and the thought process between behind this trade, right? For you guys to be able to get the sells and not just that, but also get the buys, and now preparing for new sells, which will be for tomorrow. And I'll more than likely trade this one live. I'll do recording and post it on the following day so that way you guys can get access to it and actually see the thought process behind it. Okay, so I want to show you guys this real quick. I don't want to take too much time, and I really want to go straight to the point. When it comes to NZD/USD on this pair, I'm going to go ahead and break it down to the T so that way you guys can see the thought process that I had with this pair. I'm going to go ahead and do it on a blank one so that way you guys can see. Now, right here on the 1 hour time frame, I like to see the 1 hour time frame to see what the market is doing and how it's reacting. So I was able to identify that the market had a significant move to the downside. We had a significant move to the downside, therefore it has broken structure and has broken direction. Now, one thing that I like to teach is the fact that when we see two directional levels broken, we are now breaking that directional movement for a potential shift of momentum now to the opposite side, and therefore to the downside in this case. So now for extra confirmations that I am viewing right here, we can potentially see some type of divergence, market moving up on the charts, and then we can see market moving down on our RSI. Now, the settings that I have on my RSI help me identify points of interest, where if it's oversold or overbought. That is how I have it set up, so it can help me identify my points of interest a lot faster and more effectively, and pretty much used as an extra confirmation. So far right now, I have confirmations of the market telling me that I can potentially move to the downside. Now, this is where I entered. I entered somewhere around over here, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys exactly where are those levels that I entered. But I entered in this region right here. And I'm going to tell you guys the thought process behind this. So I'm going to go ahead and delete everything and show you guys the thought process. So one thing I like to do, I like to divide my days, right? Because I like to see what happened on London session. And based off what happened on London session, then I can identify what can potentially happen in the near future, which is going to be for New York session. So London session pretty much helps me identify what to think for, what to look for in New York session. If I see big impulses on London session, I look for retracements to enter into on New York session. If I see retracement on New York session, I look for expansion moves on, if I see retracements on London session, I look for expansion moves on New York session, and so on and so on. So pretty much London session will prepare the movement for New York depending on what it is that you're looking for. So right here, we're able to identify that on London session, we saw a big impulse. Now, I like to see these areas on the 15-minute time frame once I am looking and viewing the market. So we saw that impulse coming towards London session. That was a great impulse on London session. You can see that the amount of momentum that we had. Now, you can clearly see also where it is that we stopped. We stopped at a significant level where we're able to identify some type of liquidity. If you can see right here, some type of liquidity, but we go a little bit to the past, okay, it clearly is touching up this area of liquidity. Therefore, I know that there is some potential money down over here that the market can later on in the future go into. So now that we have this identified, I want you guys to see this. You guys see how right here on my RSI has helped me identify that it's oversold. Now, the way that I have the settings out is shows me where exactly it is that I can see a potential oversold area in the market where it also correlates with a potential point of interest. So going in depth right here, we can see that within this area where it was oversold from here to here, if we go directly up, we can see where those candles were. So it's from here to here that was oversold. Directly up, we see that area that created that oversold section. And this is great because it helps me identify that point of interest. And that point of interest is where that expansion move was created, that last movement. So we do know that this right here could have been one, but the way that I took it was right here on the overall movement where we had that overall move breaking these equal highs from the past. So we saw that equal highs created right here, and we saw that we had some momentum. And then this right here, this candle was really the one that took everybody out. So therefore, it helped me identify that potential point of interest. So going into the next day, which would be New York session, I'd like to see a retracement back into that area for what? For it to later on take away these levels right here. Now, as we can identify, market came clearly into that zone and then rejected. The area where I entered, I like to enter on the 78.5, 76 levels. So therefore, this was my entry. My entry was right here at 78.5, and you guys can see the trade I had running over here, which is at 78.5 level as well. And we can see that the market came down, and then the next day on New York session, we looked for those buying opportunities, which was right here, and we had this movement to the upside. Now, the second opportunity didn't quite go all the way to the area that I wanted to for the take profit, but again, we were able to identify buying opportunities in this area. Therefore, we were able to take away those sells and add in with some buys. And this is exactly what I want you guys to understand so that we guys can know when to be flexible with the market. And right now, currently, I'm preparing for more selling opportunities on NZD/USD. So I'm currently looking for opportunities on NZD/USD. I'll see how this one reacts. The London session will more than likely take the market a little bit lower for it to have that movement that I'm expecting. So let me go back over here to NZD/USD. And I really want you guys to understand this because it's fairly simple once you grasp the information. Okay, and don't worry, I'll be doing this repetitively over and over so you guys can see the whole process I'm doing. Either I'm trading London or I'm trading New York. It's either one or the other that I like to trade. And the reason why is because I like to have my day flexible as far as what it is that I do, right? I don't want to be on the charts 24/7. Understand that we are doing this so that we can have some freedom during the day. So we had this potential entry right here, and it was a great entry. It was a great risk reward. We had this risk reward that led us over to a potential overall of a 3-to-1. And it was good. We had those good levels. It led me to 3-to-1. My stop loss was at about 11 pips, and led us to a 3-to-1 risk reward, which means if you're risking 1%, you could gain potentially 3% out of this. So once this one happened, the next day I was able to say, okay, you know what? Let's prepare for the next day, which is right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that divider once again, so that way I can see where the next day is, and I can prepare based off of what London session does. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this because I don't want you guys to have so much things here. But now I want you guys to understand that there's still liquidity down over here. There's still liquidity, and I'm still focusing on that. Also, I'm focusing the fact that we have more liquidity right here. Okay, so we have little areas of liquidity, and these levels right here, I like to call them as resting points. Okay, liquidity resting points. So I know that market will more than likely tend to come into this area, potentially create liquidity, or go straight through and then test and then go to the other one, create liquidity, or go straight through test and then fully hammer through that liquidity that is ready to create all the way down below. So that's very important because it helps you understand where those targets can potentially be created. Now that we identify this, let me go ahead and walk you guys through today's London session, today's New York session. Now today's New York session was a little bit tricky, right? The market was not so certain as far as what it was doing, so I had to go on lower time frames such as M5 because this right here, being honest, it's consolidating a lot, right? And there's not a lot of direction in the market. So therefore, I tend to go to the lower time frames to help me identify what is the market doing. When I was able to go on the lower time frame, now I want you guys to view this. On the lower time frame, I was able to identify oversold right here in this section, helping me to identify that point of interest right here. So I knew that market came up, came back down. Now this was not the trading zone that I like to trade into, so therefore I didn't buy right here, but I did buy over here. And the reason was because, again, we were oversold in this section, therefore we were able to create a block of a point of interest, which is from here to here. Let me go ahead and mark that out so that way you guys can see from where it was oversold. Oversold from here. It was oversold from here to here, right here. So you guys see where it was oversold. So now that we were able to find that area of oversold, we want to go ahead and dig deep into the candle that was oversold. And clearly we're able to identify that the candle that was oversold was right here. This was the candle that helped us identify the oversold section. And one thing that I like to identify is the fact that we have an area of potential imbalance, right? The area where we have a false algorithm. So I like to mark that out. And this is where we went ahead and looked for those entry. We're able to identify the entry right in this zone. Now, again, I like to look for that 78.5 Fibonacci retracement. If we go ahead and put our Fibonacci from the start of the impulse to the end of the impulse, we're able to view that the market came down to a 78.5 Fibonacci retracement, which is a really good level for me to take in consideration for when it comes to my trading opportunity. We were able to go ahead and enter off of the middle of the 50% of this imbalance zone, which was quite a little bit above the 78.5, and that actually helped us out to be able to have this entry right about here. and our stop loss is right below our area where we had that movement to the upside. And as always, one thing I like to target, I always like to target my first highs, which in this case it was right here. But I knew, based off of what the market had done in the past, which was a distribution over here, I wanted to go ahead and go a little bit further up and target these highs right here, which at the end of the day, it led me into a 4-to-1 risk to reward. So understand that between these two trades, one was a 3-to-1 and was a 4-to-1, which led us to a potential 7-to-1 risk to reward, which is a great risk to reward for it to be in 2 days, 2 winning trades, which is phenomenal. Now, so far right now, I want to show you guys, I have this waiting for tomorrow. Hopefully in London session, we see that drop to the downside, as well as AUD USD. On London session, I hope to see this drop to the downside. I do expect AUD USD to have those movements, hopefully by tomorrow, or if not by London session, coming into these areas, creating more liquidity, and kind of going from there. If I am able to see that liquidity, then hopefully we see the New York session retrace and then have that official drop to the downside. But so far right now, I have to wait for those sessions to come in. I don't want to go ahead and trade ahead of time. I don't want to go ahead and get inside a trade without it being its official session. So patience is crucial. Patience is key when it comes to trading. Understand what are your pairs and what time frames are the ones that you're trading. So for me specifically, when I'm trading New York session, I like to trade, what is that we like to call our majors, right? I like to go ahead and trade our majors for us to be able to identify those potential levels of entries. When it comes to London session, I like to trade GBP pairs and Euro pairs, anything that has to do with their session, so that way we can see volatility in the market. But so far right now, like I mentioned, NZD USD, I'm looking for those potential selling opportunities, and hopefully we see that movement to the London session. Now, me particularly, I'm not going to go ahead and sell right off the bat over here from the top. I'd rather wait for that retracement on the New York session, as well as for AUD USD. I'm not going to go ahead and sell it off right off the bat. I'd rather wait for that retracement into this level. Now, understand that right here, we can see that the market came almost to an oversold section, where we're able to identify that right above there, we saw that potential point of interest. So it just helped us out on mapping out what we can potentially see for an entry the day tomorrow. So the day tomorrow, I'll be looking for these entries right here to potentially be selling into, meaning depending where it is that this expansion moves us into, let's say if it moves us all the way down over here, I now know that my entry could be starting from right here with a stop loss right above this level, about 15 pips, and our take profit into those lows, leading us for a potential 4-to-1 risk reward. Now, these trades typically take between, from the start, from an hour up to 3 hours max for the trades that I specifically like to be inside. So with that said, I hope you guys were able to gain some knowledge and kind of understand the fact of how it is I kind of trade within New York session or London session. But with that said, you guys will get a lot more examples within the time. And I hope you guys are liking the vlogs as well. I know the quality is not the best. I'm getting into it. I went ahead and ordered some cameras. I ordered some equipment so that way I can go ahead and show you guys that, I'm nobody special, right? It's the same old person as anybody else. The only thing is the fact that I put a lot of time into this. I went ahead and put a lot of dedication and consistency overall. And one thing I want you guys to understand is be very disciplined when it is that you're trading. You're only risk one certain percentage, only risk that percentage, and that percentage only. So with that said, guys, I appreciate you guys jumping on this session where I'm able to show you guys a little bit of how it is that I like to trade New York. Hope to see you guys on the next one. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.